عارف لحد ما بدأ يسجل. تمام. Okay. So today we have chapter number 14, noun and verb phrases. Noun phrase and verb phrase. So it is very important to understand noun phrase and verb phrase and the difference between them. What is noun phrase and what is verb phrase? I will read this, okay, and I will explain certain points. Up to this point, we have examined systematically the phonemic and morphemic structure of English. We talked about these details. Now we shall see how words are combined into larger structures. You see, how words are combined, come together, linked into larger structures, phrases. You know, in English we have phoneme, okay, letters, se, te, fe, de, be. Then morpheme, member morpheme, teach or er, teacher, this is a morpheme. Then larger structures, phrases. Phrase is larger than morpheme. Morpheme is larger than phoneme. And what clauses and sentences. So in this chapter and the following chapters, we would focus on phrases, clauses, and sentences. Okay, phrase is smaller than clauses. Smaller. This is the domain of syntax. Okay, syntax يعني علم التركيب. علم التركيب النحوي. The syntactic architecture of the English sentence is extraordinarily complex and can be blueprinted by various methods, none of them perfect. In the presentation that follows, you will be shown the main outlines only with a domination that there are different ways of interpreting the same syntactic facts, and that English syntax contained territories as yet uncharted. هاي معلومات عامة. نجي a noun phrase. What is a noun phrase? A noun phrase consists of a noun and all the words and word groups that belong with the noun and cluster around it. This is the meaning of what? The meaning of a noun phrase. Okay, this is the meaning of noun phrase. The definition consists of a noun. ونعرفنا احنا شنو الناون غناه بشابتر قبله. Okay, consists of a noun. بعد only noun? No. All the words and word groups that belong with the noun and cluster around it. Cluster around it. يعني تحيط بيها. The noun itself, the noun itself is called the head word or the head. You see, the noun is called what? Because it is noun phrase, the noun itself is called the head word or head, and the other words and word groups are modifiers. Modifiers of the noun. Modifiers of the noun. Okay. For example, the yellow topless. Topless. Okay. The yellow topless in the garden. يعني ورد. The yellow topless in the garden which were gaily blowing. You see all this noun phrase. I noun phrase, this is noun phrase, and this is noun phrase. الهيد هنا هو الهيد. Head word. Topless. Okay. Topless is the noun. This is the word head. Okay. Or the head word of the noun phrase. The yellow topless, so topless. وأقول شلون نميزه هنا؟ شلون تميزه؟ دائما الهيد word هي obligatory. You can't delete, you can't omit, تقدر تحذف all the other modifiers, all the other words. ما تأثر على الجملة. يعني تقدر تقول the topless وتقدر تقول the yellow topless. With yellow or without. So yellow is what modifier. The yellow topless in the garden. In the garden, see, you can't delete yellow and in the garden. yellow, in the garden. كل هذا words, all these words can be left out. Okay, you can omit them. So the head word is what? Is topless. In this example, you see, head word of the rest of the words, بقية الكلمات, the modifiers اللي هنا modifiers قلنا سميناها modifiers of the noun. We observe that the single word modifiers like the حتى الد وياها. Yellow, precede تسبق من precede the head اللي هو topless, and the word group modifiers like in the garden and then in the garden and which were gaily blooming follow the head. You see, I hope you understand. So this is noun phrase from the definition consists of a noun and all the words that belong with the noun and cluster around. قلنا تحوطها يعني دائما circle around it like yellow. This is preceded, okay, here followed by in the garden. Here we have head word, which is the noun, and here explanation. I just explain it. Here you have exercises. Underline the head of the following noun phrase. You see, fence. The fence. Fence is what? Is the head word. The head. When you say the old fence, so still fence is what? The head. And they and old are what? Are modifiers. They are modifiers. That new aluminium fence, you see, modifiers. These are modifiers, etc. The fence between the houses, modifiers. So all this noun phrase. It has no verb, just the subject. It can be subject or it can be object. Noun phrase can be subject and can be what? Can be object. Okay, here we don't have subject, just the fence, the old fence. That a new aluminium fence, the fence between the houses. You see? We do not make list of words and make them noun phrase. And which one is the head word? Table, the small, steady. So table here. Okay, European, any, opera, great, sobra, evening, that, all these words. أعطيكم إياها الواجب بعدين. Homework. Most sentences, this is a note. Most sentence positions that are occupied by nouns can be occupied by noun phrases. Can be what? Occupied by noun phrases. Occupied by nouns can be occupied by noun phrases. For example, boys often build dams in the Cypric. Boys is what? Noun. التفسير بهاي الملاحظة. البوزيشن مالته. وحتي noun هنا. قلنا noun phrase بها noun and other words. واحد يقول أستاذ شنو هي الناون؟ noun only noun. يعني واحد يقول أستاذ يا الأكبر noun or noun phrase. Yes. So I'm asking you, which one is larger, noun or noun phrase? Who can tell me? Noun or noun phrase? Yes? Who can tell me which one is larger, which one is smaller, noun or noun phrase? Yes, Kara. Haida. Yes, Kara. I don't hear Karrar. Who else? Who wants to speak? It's very easy. Just explain it. Yes, Diana, شنو noun? What is noun? Can you explain it? Explain. Which one is larger? Noun or noun phrase? Tabak Aziz, can you speak please? Don't write. Speak. طحين. الله. طلاب طحين انت.
The noun phrase.
Is what? Larger or smaller?
Larger.
How? Can you explain how? Yes, Mohammed.
Yes, noun phrase.
Larger or smaller?
Larger.
How? Can you explain?
He is the group word.
Okay, yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So, as I said here, from the definition, okay, from the definition, قلنا again, noun phrase consists of noun and all other words. Okay, so noun is part of noun phrase. The yellow topless is noun, but the yellow topless, all this is noun phrase. So noun phrase is larger than noun. Noun phrase is larger than noun. Okay, and also here, boys is noun. So when you say small boys, so it is noun phrase. Only boys, also boys, noun phrase. Can't say that noun phrase. It has only noun. Small boys, it has adjective and noun. Okay. Jim wanted a car. You see, car is what? Is a noun, car. But when you say a new sports car with wire wheels, which with hard a fast get away. كل هذا noun phrase. يا هي الهيد word car. شفت هنا الكار؟ You can say Jim wanted a car, or you can say this. Like this. The lock was broken. يعني القفل كان مكسور. So the lock here is what? Noun. We have only noun and the, so noun phrase, be the article and lock noun. But when you say the rusty lock on the front door, you see, this is noun phrase. Call a noun phrase. Noun phrase. Which one is the head? Lock. Lock is the head. Okay? Lock is the head. And all these words are modifiers. يعطيك exercise يقول لك expand. يعني وسع ضيف كلمات. مثلا he makes jewelry. He makes beautiful jewelries, for example. They sailed under the bridge, under the great bridge, or the bridge that is near the square. You see, I'm here expanding. Sailboats. This is only noun. You can add other words to make it noun phrase, etc. So this is noun phrase. I hope the idea is clear. Say noun phrase. مكان ما عندنا one word, we have more than one word. شو نسميه بالانجليزي؟ نسميه noun phrase. The same thing in English, in verb phrase. وين verb phrase؟ مثلهن. هنا مو عندنا noun phrase، هنا هم عندنا verb phrases. خلينا نشوف شنو verb phrase من التعريف. مهم تعرف التعريف. A verb phrase consists of a verb and all the words and word groups that belong. نفس التعريف. خلينا نجي كلمات وياه. The verb itself is called the head word. See, the verb itself is called the head word, and the other words are auxiliaries. Other words and word groups are auxiliaries, modifiers, and complements. يعني المين verb هو شنو هو؟ هو الهيد word. عندك other verbs؟ yes. شنو other verbs؟ auxiliaries. مثلا models, can, could, may, might, will, shall, is, are, these are models. Sorry, auxiliaries. Okay, all these auxiliaries, all modifiers, or complement of the verb. You see, complements تعريف يعطي لها. شوف حتى كتام كمصطلح، حتى ما خلى R هنا. is the generic term for the completers of the verb. يعني تكمله. أنا دائما كنا نستعملها نقول complement. completers of the verb يعني complete the verb. اللي هنا ممكن يكون direct object, indirect object, object complement, subject complement. You see دائما احنا من نقول لك السنتنس تتكون من subject verb complement. Complement is what? Completers of the verb, which can be object, direct object, indirect object complement, subject complement. These are called complements. اوكي، واضح صوتي طلاب؟
واضح أستاذ.
صورتي واضحة؟
نعم أستاذ.
صورتي واضحة؟
نعم أستاذ.
نعم أستاذ.
تمام. Okay, so this is what we mean by verb phrase. Has verb. The main verb is the head word, and we have what? We have the other verbs can be called auxiliaries and modifiers. Also, we have complements. This here in this sentence examples: soon arrived, arrived late. You see head word arrived. Couldn't تعتبر verb phrase. Arrived, the head word. Waiting. See, was waiting, was auxiliary, waiting head word, at the door, complement. May have been, you see, may. One verb, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have how many verbs? We have 4 verbs. And we have complement here. So this is what verb phrase. واحد يقول شلون نعرفها verb phrase؟ نقول من الverb من اللي قلت arrived. You see arrived, was waiting, may. So here we have verb phrase. So we have verb phrase.
أستاذ هو المين فيرب هو الهيد وورد؟
Yes, main verb is the head word. All the other verbs auxiliaries. واحد مثلا تجي كنت حاجة تطلع لي الهيد وورد. تقول لي مثلا يا المين فيرب هو الهيد وورد. اوكي؟ مثل الناون يعني ما تقدر تحذفه، إذا تحذفه تصير مشكلة. عندك هنا أنا أقول لك underline the head in the verb phrases. مثلا stepped likely, stepped in the room, stepped, see stepped. كله stepped. At once shouted. See, without hesitation shouted. We're watching, eating, etc. All these are what? Are head words. Here are some verb phrases containing complements. You can now be in complements. Take a minute. Never mind the details now. يعني لا تهتم. For you will study them later. بعدين يقول لك راح تدرسهم راح ندرسهم بعدين بالتفصيل. Just those are the words and each phrases are concerned connected with the verb. Connected. مثلا boat هذا head word. كلها verb phrase. ايش بيها؟ بيها complement. هاي complement مثلا direct object. هنا عندك direct and indirect etc. Elected George a member of the fraternity. We will study them. هي object complement. هي George direct object. ومن هو الممبر؟ هو نفسه جورج. هذا إذا object complement. You will study them in detail. You see? Underline the head. هم يقول لك طلع الهيد. شوف هاي ملاحظة جدا مهمة. يقول لك many English sentences. أنت خليها يعني general rule in your mind. English sentences divided into two parts. Two parts. One is noun phrase and the other verb phrase. Okay? General speaking, in general, ما نبي 190% من الجمل مثلا خلينا نقول هيك. Has noun phrase, verb phrase. Noun phrase, verb phrase. أخذنا noun phrase وأخذنا verb phrase. خليهم together, put them together, you will have sentence. أنا حتى راح أسهل لك شلون نسوي جمل. Okay? مثلا نعطيك هنا examples. The red pony in the pasture galloped along the fence. You see, this is noun phrase and this is verb تكملة مالته verb phrase. You see, many students noun phrase attended the Christmas party is what is verb phrase. النقطة الرابعة من يعطيني الهيد وورد مال الناون phrase والverb phrase. Raise your hand please. The pipes in the classroom bounded noisily. أول شيء يعطيني noun phrase. شنو هي noun phrase هنا بهاي الجملة؟ What is the noun phrase? The pipes in the classrooms bounded noisily. What is the noun phrase? Yes, Naba.
Yes, the babies اللي هي noun phrase.
The pipes. Yeah, the pipes is the only the pipes is the noun phrase.
Pipes in the classroom.
So this is
the
noun.
The pipes in the classroom.
Very good.
This is the noun phrase.
Where is the head word?
الهيد word اللي هي the pipes.
The pipes. Yes, thank you so much. Good. Yes. Who can tell me what is the verb phrase? What is the verb phrase? What is the verb phrase? Yes. Oh. Who else? Who else? Easy. What is the verb phrase?
أستاذ bound.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
أستاذ
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
هي
Yes, your.
أستاذ الباوند هي الverb phrases.
Bounded is verb phrase? Okay, thank you. Yes, Mohammed. Mohammed. What is the noun verb phrase? Mohammed.
Bounded.
Bounded is the verb phrase?
Yes, the verb.
Okay. Who else? Yes, Noor Hassan.
Bounded is the verb phrase.
Bounded is the verb phrase. Okay, who else? Sajjad. All right.
Bounded noisily.
Yes, very good. Bounded noisily. Here I'm asking about verb phrase, not verb. Bounded noisily is the verb phrase. Bounded noisy is the verb phrase. Okay, bounded is only the verb, the main verb, which is the head word. Okay, حتى تعرف انت بتميز واذا واحد يصير لك شنو الفيرب فريز شنو الناون فريز تعطيه سنتنس وتوضح له هاي السنتنس. هذا الشرح مالتي. يقول لك the entire phrase ممكن noun phrase maybe call the modified or complete subject. شفت؟ ممكن نسميها subject. اوكي؟ or modified or subject. يعني هاي كلها استخدمنا هذا vibes in the classroom كله subject. verb phrase predicate. predicate يعني تكملة. تاخذوا بالمرحلة الثالثة. هذا مصطلح. يقول لك الجملة تتكون من subject and predicate. subject and predicate. اوكي؟ لكن هنا تمارين. يقول لك كملها. add a verb phrase. يقول لك then a noun phrase the tiny leak in the house. من يكمل الجملة؟ من عندك بدون كتاب. the tiny leak in the house. كلها noun phrase. وين الهيد وورد هنا؟ من يعطيني اياها الهيد وورد؟ the tiny leak in the house. What is the word head here or head word? Yes, you can't tell me. The tiny leak in the house. Yes, سجاد قايد.
leak.
Okay. The tiny leak in the house. Okay. بس شوي خلينا نستريح نخلص. تمام تعرف ها؟ عندي انترنت انا قلت لك. تمام. بس 5 دقائق. ساعة بيش تاخذها؟ ساعة بيش تاخذها؟ الا ربع حسب الا ربع.
بعد ما نخلص
تمام. Very good, Sajjad. The leak here is what? Is the head word. The tiny leak in the house causes a problem. أنا أقول لك التسريب الصغير بالهوس. leak يعني إحنا هاي مرات نقول سيارة مليكة البنزين مالتها أو التبريد مالتها ده واحد عنده سيارة. فالليك يعني تسريب. Okay? Very good. Thank you so much. هنا أنا أقول لك add noun phrase. هنا بالعكس يعطيك verb phrase يقول لك add noun phrase. هي يقول لك when the complete subject begins a statement. Here statement, question, how to make question, yes no question, is how to ask, could. I think it's easy. You are familiar with it. تعرفون ذني. شلون تخليه بالبداية when you make question date you ask use the auxiliary date for the main verb. إذا عندك تستعمل is و are. يقول لك شلون تحولها إلى question. Her youngest brother broke his bicycle. What did his brother young break? So it's easy, I think. Till this, the lab we will finish with this subject and verb. I think it's easy now if you know the subject and verb. It will be easy for you if you understand noun phrase and verb phrase. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, I'm ready.
بس chapter 12 و 13 نرجع لهم بعدين.